Hi and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Hope everyone's keeping safe wherever you are. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about Koya hydration and buffering, or in general, how to prepare Koya-based growing media. I've mentioned before that there are mainly 4 factors that affect the selection of a growing media. They are physical, chemical, biological, and economical features. And you need to consider other aspects such as your crop requirements, pot size, potting methods, irrigation system, and growing conditions. We assume that you have considered all these factors and decided to go with Koya. Well, good decision. Substrate produced utilizing the mesocarp or the husk of the coconut is commonly referred to as Koya. Koya is an organic, environmentally friendly, sustainable raw material and a renewable source of natural origin which can be recycled as well as reused as a soil improver. Here you can see different grades of Koya growing media. You can see cocoa husk, cocoa pit, cocoa Koya, or it's called cocoa fiber, or cocoa husk pieces. Koya provides a uniform open structure and high air volume. Koya water and air holding characteristics allow it to absorb water easily and release it gradually to the plant. The excessive water drains out fast, resulting in less root rot disease. Koya can be easily re-wetted after drying. Please comment me which growing media doesn't re-wet when it dries out. Do you remember? Coconut palm trees often grow in soil that is high in salt. Think of those classic holiday postcards with large palm trees on golden beaches? Yes, that's where coconut palm trees grow. Coconut can easily tolerate and absorb potassium, sodium, and chloride. Unlike most plants that are cultivated in the horticultural sector, these salts have no negative impact on palm trees. Koya substrate manufacturers wash Koya to reduce the salts to an acceptable level. Sodium, potassium, and chloride are present in the whole cocoa trees, and it's therefore a minimum requirement to wash the part of the plant we're going to use, in our case the husk, to bring the EC level or the salt down to an acceptable level. If they didn't do this, growers would have to wash the cocoa, because apart from the high sodium and chloride levels, it would also contain too much potassium. Remember, potassium is an antagonist for calcium and magnesium. Washing the cocoa doesn't solve the entire problem. Cocoa, as an organic material, has a negatively charged complex, surrounded by a couple of positively charged ions, sodium and potassium. Since these elements stick to the complex, like iron to a magnet, initially there is no danger to the plant root because the sodium and potassium are not available. The problem starts when fertilizing with calcium, for example. The calcium will push the potassium and sodium aside and take the position. Consequently, the calcium that is connected to the complex won't be available to the plant, while sodium and potassium that are released into the soil moisture will become available. Strawberries and young plants are particularly sensitive to this problem. So, what's the solution? To avoid this serious problem, we need to buffer Koya as well. So, buffering is the solution. In buffered Koya, the ion exchange happens, where calcium pushes the other ions off the complex and other salts such as sodium and potassium have been washed away. If you use washed but not buffered cocoa, you need to top up with extra calcium. Buffering is best done by the grower on the farm side. In this way, growers achieve consistent results. I'm gonna cover buffering process for grow bags and Koya bales. There are 2 steps involved in buffering, which I explain. First, buffering in grow bags. Step 1. You need to expand with buffering solution. The EC of the solution should be 2.2 microsiemens per centimeter. Water amount of approximately 75% of the grow bag's volume is needed for expansion. By water, I mean the buffering solution. Buffering recipes should have high calcium, magnesium, and lower potassium compared to a standard start recipe. The advice is to start with a higher EC to make the buffering process more efficient. So, start with higher EC. Then, start with small shots of water, like 50 ml per dripper. Repeat every 15 minutes until all the bags are fully expanded. Keep temperature around 20 centigrade. Keep the grow bags for 48 hours or 2 days filled with buffer solution. Step 2. Flush the grow bags with clean water until drain reaches the required EC. Measure the EC to find out if you've done buffering successfully. Use the buffer recipe as the start recipe, which must have increased calcium and magnesium level and lower potassium level. Keep this recipe for 2 weeks, then change to your normal start recipe as you always use. And yes, you're done. Now Koya bale. Again, step 1, you need to expand with buffering solution. The EC should be approximately 2.2 microsiemens per centimeter. Buffering recipes should have high calcium, magnesium, and lower potassium compared to a standard start recipe. Again, our advice is to start with higher EC to make the buffering process more efficient. You need half of the Koya bale size buffering solution for expansion. So put the Koya bales in the buffering solution, keep the temperature around 220 centigrade, keep them in the buffering solution for 48 hours or 2 days. Step 2, you need to flush the expanded Koya with clean water until drain reaches the required EC. So you need to measure the EC to find out if you've done buffering successfully. And if yes, you're done. Again, use the buffer recipe as the start recipe, which must have increased calcium and magnesium and lower potassium. Keep this recipe for 2 weeks, then change to your normal start recipe that you always use. Please pay attention that buffering Koya available in the market is not always consistent in quality due to several reasons. Buffering in greenhouse or on your site allows you to have full control of the process and consistent treatment. Moreover, in your site, the buffering helps to reduce ecological footprint in the production. Thank you very much for watching. If you have learned from this video, please subscribe to our channel. Your support and trust is our motivation for making more informative contents for you. If you have any questions, please send us an email to info@natural.net.au. We appreciate your comments too. Have a good one.